Hey everybody, so the Ritchie Outback is kind of nearing its final form factor, I think, but there is one component on this bike that still needs a little bit of work in my opinion, and that's the Garbaruk derailleur cage that I installed on the GRX derailleur. Now, for whatever reason, at the time I ordered a black derailleur cage because I kind of thought silver might clash with the otherwise black derailleur, but it's very clear that this build kind of adheres to a silverish brown color scheme, and the black derailleur cage just kept sticking out to me. So I could either order a brand new silver derailleur cage for $72 US plus $30 shipping since it's coming from overseas, or I can just try and strip the anodized finish off the black derailleur cage and polish up the raw aluminum. Now, I don't generally like to mess around with super harsh chemicals, but I have seen a couple of videos where people use this industrial degreaser to strip the finish off their anodized bike parts. Now, somebody had told me that you could use Drano, but I definitely tried it and I let these parts sit in a tub of Drano for 15-20 minutes, and it did something. Like, I was able to kind of scratch at the surface and get down to bare aluminum, but by and large the anodized finish is still very much on these parts. This is just the two halves of the derailleur cage that I took apart. So we're just going to go all in and try this concentrated industrial degreaser. Now again, I don't really like messing around with super harsh chemicals. I don't know where this industrial degreaser falls in the spectrum of harshness. I mean, they do sell this at Lowe's and Home Depot, so I'm not quite sure how strong it is, but I'd rather not take any chances. Right, so got the goggles, got the gloves. I even turn on the fan and open the garage door a little bit so I can get some airflow through here. So what I'm going to do is just get a plastic container and set the parts in there. I'm just going to give it a little bath in this degreaser. Oh, interesting. You can already kind of see that it's bubbling up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this stuff appears to be a lot stronger than the Drano stuff that I was using before. So it's been in there for a few minutes now, and if you look, it's pretty clear that the anodized, it just starts to rub off. I should probably let it sit a little bit longer, but after a few minutes in the bath here, it's just already kind of melting off. Wow, yeah, so I mean, that's going to be fast. Oh yeah, and just totally wiped off of there. All right, let's see how this other piece is doing in here. Sheesh, I think we're basically done after about, let's say, 10 minutes total. I don't want to be around this degreaser for any longer than I need to. Okay, so it's getting a little bit fumey, so I aired out the garage, walked away for a little bit, turned on the fan. We're back, all the degreaser is put away. And I think what I'll do is just give these a little bit of a wet sand with 800 grit. This is just plain water here. I'll try and use this to give it a little wet sand. Alright, so after a couple of minutes of just wet sanding, it's got kind of a satin finish to it, which I actually think looks kind of cool. I think in some instances, if you leave it just raw like this, it actually looks even better. But in the case of the Ritchie Outback, what I'm going to try and do is just give it a little bit of a polish using this Meguiar's automotive polishing compound. And there we go, looking pretty shiny. Not like a pure mirror finish, but kind of like it, somewhere right in the middle. I think it'll suit the Outback nicely. Now there's a couple of spacers that connect the two halves of the cage together. Those are also black anodized, but those are easy enough to just sand the anodized finish off. Now again, you're barely going to see these, but I feel like if they're gloss black, you may just notice, whereas even if you just take that finish off and you kind of leave them like this, it'll just kind of blend into the silver theme a little bit better. Now the last thing, I know this sounds kind of crazy, the screws that hold together the two halves of the derailleur cage, those are also black. But again, I think with a quick sand we can just take most of the black finish off. Yeah, I think I have a problem sanding down Allen head screws to get the black finish off. It's not for everybody, but it makes me happy. Alright, so now we just gotta put the derailleur back together and we'll be good to go. And the trickiest part about this process is keeping the spring tensioned while you reinstall this stopper. But with any luck, we can get it on the first try. All right. And there we have it. Classic. Well, at least the cage looks classic. The black plastic, not so much, but I think it's an improvement. All right, so there you have it, a relatively quick and easy way to make your parts look classic. A little bit of harsh industrial degreaser action to strip off most of the anodized, and then just a little bit of elbow grease, give it a quick wet sand with, say, like an 800, and then just finish off with an automotive polishing compound. Now, I gotta say I'm pretty happy with how this came out. The black cage was It's just one of those things that was kind of bugging me about the bike. And now with this silver cage that I did not have to pay $100 for, I'm pretty happy, and I'm thinking the bike is basically in its final form. I'm definitely putting together a longer term review of the Ritchie Outback. I'll give you all the updates in that video. But for now, this is a process that should work with pretty much any anodized part. So if you want to go retro with your bike components, as many companies are doing currently, you can always take this DIY approach and make your own silver parts for your bike. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, I'll see you next time.